On a cold December morning in 1531, on a hill near what is now Mexico City, something happened that would echo through centuries, a moment that blurred the line between heaven and earth. An ordinary man, an extraordinary vision, and an image that science still struggles to explain. This is the story of Our Lady of Guadalupe, a miracle that shaped a nation, inspired millions, and continues to challenge reason to this very day.
The early 1500s were a time of turmoil in the Americas. Spain had conquered the Aztec Empire only 10 years earlier. The land was tense, divided, faith and identity clashing between the native traditions and the new Christian world brought by the conquistadors. Amid this chaos lived a humble man, Juan Diego, a recently converted Aztec peasant. He had no power, no wealth, and no influence, yet destiny had chosen him for something beyond comprehension.
It was December 9th, 1531. As Juan Diego walked along the path to attend morning mass, a radiant light broke through the winter sky. On the hill of Tepeyac, he saw a young woman, glowing brighter than the sun, clothed in stars, her face filled with compassion. She spoke gently, calling him Juanito, her beloved little son. "I am the Virgin Mary," she said. "Go to the bishop and tell him I wish for a church to be built here in my honor." Stunned and trembling, Juan obeyed. But when he reached the bishop, his story was met with skepticism. How could a simple villager bring such a message from heaven? The bishop demanded a sign, a miracle, to prove the veracity of his claim.
3 days later, on December 12th, the Virgin appeared again. This time, she told Juan to gather flowers from the barren winter hilltop, a place where no roses ever bloomed. Yet when he reached the summit, he found it overflowing with fresh Castilian roses, a flower native to Spain, unknown to Mexico at that time. He wrapped them in his tilma, a rough cactus-fiber cloak, and carried them to the bishop. As he opened the cloak, the roses fell to the ground, and suddenly a breathtaking image appeared upon the fabric itself. The image of the Virgin Mary, unlike any ever seen before.
What appeared on Juan Diego's cloak, now known as the tilma of Guadalupe, would become one of the most studied and venerated relics in human history. The image showed a young woman with indigenous features, dressed in a robe of turquoise and gold, standing upon a crescent moon, surrounded by rays of heavenly light. For the Aztec people, every symbol in the image spoke a divine language. The stars on her mantle matched the constellations visible that very day in 1531. The black ribbon around her waist signified pregnancy. She carried life within her, and the rays behind her revealed a power greater than the sun god they once worshipped. The Virgin of Guadalupe had become a bridge between old and new worlds, between faith and culture, between heaven and earth.
Nearly 500 years later, the image remains intact, printed not on linen or silk, but on a fragile cactus fiber that should have disintegrated after 20 years. Scientists from NASA, the University of Florida, and even skeptical researchers in Mexico have all examined it. They found no trace of paint, pigment, or brushstrokes. Under infrared light, the colors seemed to float above the fabric, as if the image were somehow suspended in the air. The tilma survived an acid spill, an explosion in 1921, and centuries of exposure.
yet the image remains untouched, vibrant, alive. Even more baffling, when ophthalmologists studied the Virgin's eyes under magnification, they discovered reflections of tiny human figures, 13 people, captured in microscopic detail, as if the image had recorded the moment Juan Diego opened his cloak before the bishop. No scientific explanation has been able to reproduce or fully explain it. After the miracle, millions of native Mexicans converted to Christianity, not by force, but by faith. Within a decade, the region had transformed from a place of violence and despair to one of hope and renewal. The Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe now stands on that same hill, one of the most visited religious sites in the world, drawing over 20 million pilgrims each year. For Catholics, she is not just a symbol of faith, but of unity, the mother who embraces the poor, the broken, and the forgotten. And for historians and scientists alike, she remains one of humanity's greatest unsolved mysteries.
What really happened in 1531? Was it a divine miracle meant to heal a wounded world? Or a phenomenon beyond our current understanding of science? Maybe, as some say, both can be true, because miracles are not always meant to be explained. They are meant to be experienced.